What's up, guys? Today we're going to be talking about the inner workings of the C8 NPP and AFM modules. One of the questions we receive most is, do I need an AFM module? Do I need the NPP modules? So today we're going to clear that up. The C8 from factory has two sets of valves in the exhaust. The AFM, which is active fuel management, and the NPP. The AFM valve dampens the sound difference when switching between the 4-cylinder mode and the 8-cylinder mode. Then the NPP valves are located before the exhaust tips for those that chose the performance exhaust option from factory. After extensive testing, we found that in the 2020 and 2021 model years, the AFM and NPP valves, when removed, set off error codes in the ECU. Some of the codes throw a light on the dash, and some of them just prevent you from getting your C8 inspected. The NPP valves have no issues when being utilized through an aftermarket exhaust designed to retain the NPP actual sound valves. So if your exhaust has the sound valves for opening and closing, then it'll have the actual plugs in for that, and you can just plug those together and you won't need the NPP valves. But if your new exhaust, if you had bought a C8 Corvette with the performance optioned exhaust from factory, and you put a new exhaust on that doesn't have sound valves, then you need the NPP valves, or else your car will throw a check engine light. Now, no matter what, when doing an aftermarket exhaust on your C8 Corvette, you're going to need the AFM module, because while many aftermarket exhausts actually have a trick location to mount the AFM, we found that if there is even the slightest bit of deviation from the valve's original configuration, even by a millimeter, it'll throw the code. So aftermarket exhaust, you'd need the AFM no matter what. If your C8 was optioned with the performance exhaust previously, then it would also need the NPP valves if the new exhaust does not have sound opening valves, and it always stays open. But if you have valves that you can press a button and vary, then that'll plug into your exhaust like factory, and you won't need the NPP. But no matter what, you need the AFM. And now we're going to have Trey explain to you exactly where each module goes and how to install it in the easiest way possible.
Hello everybody, I'm going to show you how to install these NPP valves and these AFM modules. It's very simple. So when you get your exhaust, you're going to have these connectors, and they usually clip into a valve on the exhaust on either side. And what you'll do is you'll just take those out, unplug them from your exhaust, plug these guys in, just like so. Clip that in, and then what you can do is, I typically like to zip tie them up somewhere around here. That way they're out of the way, and you have a little heat shielding here that kind of blocks the heat and keeps it nice and safe. So that's the NPP valves. Really quite simple, easy to do, and that way there's no confusion on which is which.
Same thing on the other side?
Same thing on the other side. So what we'll do, we'll come over here, and obviously you don't need a turbo kit for this.
Yeah, this is every Corvette.
Every Corvette. And they can't be plugged in wrong. Like, you'll see it just doesn't want to go. So sometimes you have to play with it and see which side it wants to go. If you hear a little clip, slide that in, and we'll zip tie her up in this general vicinity here, and I'll show you how that's done. All it has to do is just be secure. Something like that, and that'll be fine. That way it's just not flopping around or anything. It's just secure, out of the way. And like I said before, there's a heat shielding here, and the tips don't get nearly as hot as everything up front, because there's more airflow back here, so we're not worried about that. Voila.
Clean.
Yep.
Are those interchangeable? Can you put these on either side? Like,
Yep.
Yeah, so there's no mixing them up.
Yeah, so you can't, they're not side dependent or anything. It's just either one, whatever, doesn't matter.
Cool.
Now we're going to move on to the AFM module, which is in the trunk area behind the airbox. So this typically, in a factory setup, you're going to have the wiring that comes down across the transmission So there'll be some clips, like some Christmas tree clips in there you'll have to unclip, and you'll have to unplug those valves on the exhaust that's like in this general area here. It'll be like around here and here. Once you do that, the wiring will be, you'll pull the wiring up, and I'll show that once I get the car down. It'll be by the air box, and I'll show you how that plugs in.
So Trey wanted to go ahead and show you guys the exact locations that you unplug the AFM module from the factory location.
So this is where those Christmas tree clips will be found. Okay. So you'll have the harness with the Christmas tree clips right here that you'll have to undo, and right here on the transmission case. Yep. So that little hole right there and this hole right here will have a harness attached to it with the plugs for the AFM module that you'll have to unclip.
Same on the other side?
Same on the other side of the transmission. It's identical. Mirror image. So this is where we're going to plug in the AFM module. These are the wiring harnesses, and these are the Christmas tree clips that you will undo from the transmission tunnel. But you see the length in the Christmas trees here, clips, and that's what you're going to undo from the transmission tunnel. Same on this side as well. Now I have this, because this is a turbo car, I've got this intercooler in here, and this is kind of routed kind of different than it would normally be underneath the air box. Usually it's on the side here. So it won't be as like short as this is right now, but it's the same concept. What we'll do is, like before, these are kind of different. One is upside down versus the other, and that's done on purpose, is because the harness is going to actually be like this. So it's going to be like an X pattern here, and one's going to be upside down, one's going to be right side up. And we do that because the length of the wiring flows best that way. So what you do is just clip it in like so. Same deal. It'll look like that. And then what we like to do is tuck it underneath this little heat shield piece here. Kind of get the wiring how you want it. And that's pretty much how it'll look, just like that. And what I like to do, this is not like 100% necessary, but typically what I like to do is I like to poke a little hole, 2 little holes through this little panel here. Generally length of the module itself, and then I'll grab a couple zip ties and I'll run 2 zip ties through it and just kind of hold this thing to that panel. That way it's not moving around. And that gives it a nice little secure spot. Extra light. See how that's routed like so. That's how you install an AFM module and an NPP module.
Well, you made that look simple.
It is simple.
I'm really focused on your face. There we go. Well, hell yeah. Thanks for showing us. We're going to have more of this stuff, and I swear we have more techs other than Trey, but he just so happened to be doing everything that we needed to get film of. So.
Right.
You'll get to meet all the guys soon.
Yeah. Like Steve.
Steve.
He's not a tech, but
he's Steve.
He's Steve.
All right, we'll let you get back to work. Thanks, Trey.
Yeah.
See you.
See ya.